Hey guys, this is Anastasia Autumnfire, and this video is for the 2016 YTPaganchallenge Challenge. Have you experienced spiritual hesitation or doubt? I apologize, I'm kind of fighting a cold, so a little huskier voice than normal. But short answer to that is absolutely. I definitely have experienced spiritual hesitation and doubt, and I've kind of gone over this subject quite a bit, trying to figure out what I wanted to say about it, because it is something that I deal with quite frequently. And I don't really want to get into the negativity that it can bring, because I think it's something that probably everyone deals with. And I think we all know the negativity that it can bring. We all know the pain that it can cause. For me, I have started to realize and started to learn that although when I'm going through it, I feel like it's a very personal thing, and it is a personal thing, but I oftentimes, and I know I've spoken about this in other videos, when I start to go through a negative spiral, I will oftentimes look at myself and go, what the Hades is wrong with me? I mean, how can I call myself a pagan or a witch or even a believer in spiritual paths when, while I'm on this spiritual path, I'm doubting it and I'm struggling with it? I mean, what does that say about me? But for me, at least, I have discovered that when I have those moments of doubt, of confusion, of kind of chaos reining me in and kind of stunting my growth, I find it's always a relatively short period, and it's only a small time that I'm stuck, and what comes after it is a period of extreme growth. What I mean by that is because my spiritual doubt, my spiritual hesitation, really stems from my own personal doubt and confusion. Just me second guessing myself, me not thinking that I am capable of magic, that I am capable of reaching these higher planes, that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not wise enough, I'm not cool enough. I mean seriously, it runs the range of possibilities, and I'm everything that is wrong when I have these moments. That, or it's my logic brain kicks in a bit too much, and I kind of sit there and go, okay, well, if logically I can see logically that this happens this way, but when this happens this way, it completely contradicts my spiritual beliefs that it should be this way. And when that happens, everything kind of gets kicked off kilter, and I know my friends, my family that know I'm pagan, that know that I'm a witch, can testify that when I go through those moments, it's quick. It's like, I don't want any more of my crafting stuff. We can just bring it all back because there's no point, there's no magic, and I'm just being silly. But what happens after when I go into these moments is I start to question everything. And I think that's insanely good for any spiritual path, not just paganism. I think anytime you follow a faith, anytime you follow a spiritual, I don't want to say doctrine because that's wrong, any sort of spiritual journey, dogma, path, what have you, it's very easy to listen to experts, to listen to wise women, listen to holy men, listen to people who are also on the same path as you, and take what they say as gospel. That's why when I started making these videos, I used to watch YouTube and be just, oh, why do you have this disclaimer at every freaking video? The whole, this is just speaking for me. I'm not saying this is for everyone. I never got it because it's like, come on, dude, we know, we get it. But when you're on the other side, when you're actually making the video, you have that moment of, oh, sweet Kernunos, the last thing I want is is to put out this video and have someone watch it and go, wow, I don't see it that way at all. I don't resonate that way at all. Something must be wrong with me. Because I think that's what we're used to as a society. As a society, we are used to right and wrong. I think we are used to people telling us what to do and how to do it and how to act and how to respond. And while that's very important in some ways, rules and regulations can be good. Sorry, my hair is bugging the crap out of me today. It just feels weird. Must be part of the cold. I don't know why that would be, but we're going to roll with it. Anyway, back on subject. I think our society is very used to being told what to do and how to do it and when to do it and how often to do it. And I think rules and regulations and procedures and things being drawn out like that are very important in some aspects of life, but when it comes to spirituality, I struggle with that. I'm never going to say anyone else is right or wrong. If you are someone that looks at doctrine and looks at, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do this, and you resonate with that, dude, follow it. Keep going. Do what works for you. I struggled with it so hardcore when I identified as a Christian, when I studied, and I did. The way I seek in paganism is the way I sought in Christianity. And it was really a struggle for me because I'd come across something, I go, oh my gosh, this really resonates for me. This really makes sense. And I'd go to my pastor and I would tell him, like, oh my gosh, I read this one passage and it really spoke to me because blah, 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 blah. And sometimes he would say yes, and I would get really excited and very happy because, oh yay, I'm doing something right. But then I started finding a lot of times I was wrong. And then it would kind of snowball and spiral, and I wouldn't know what was wrong with me because I resonated with this. This made sense to me, and now you, who knows your stuff, and you are who I come to as a teacher, are telling me I'm wrong. I didn't know how to deal with that. And so that's one of the things I love about paganism is there is no right, there is no wrong. There's simply what resonates for you, what works for you, what calls to you. And that is so incredibly powerful. And that is so empowering because other people can tell you how they do it. Other people can give you their opinions. I can speak from experience. The Oak and Holly King, for example. Very early on, it resonated with me that the Holly King is in power from summer solstice to winter solstice. Winter solstice, although he is at the height of his power with the longest night of the year, the Oak King wins their battle because the sun is reborn. Although the Holly King enjoys the longest night of the year, the night of darkness, so he's kind of all amped up. Because the sun is reborn, that light has a little bit of oomph, has a little bit of power. And so that pushes the Oak King over the edge, and the Oak King rules from winter solstice to summer solstice. And then it's the same thing. The Oak King, is at the zenith of his power, all, longest day of the year. I've got all this mamma jamma juju in my corner. And yet, because after today, the nights are going to start getting longer, the Holly King beats him. And he gets to reign. And that always resonated for me. That always made sense. And then not too recently, a few months, I think it was it was last summer solstice. A group I've been working with said they observe it the opposite. That The Oak King comes to power with summer solstice and ends it with Yule, and Holly King picks it up at Yule and rules till summer solstice. And it made sense. I got it, but it doesn't resonate for me. Neither of us are wrong. It's just they see it one way and I resonate another. Both sides make sense, but it's just where our rhythms are, where we kind of mesh, what works for us, what gels with us. And I think this is where hesitation this is where doubt, I should say. This is where doubt hits. Because at that moment, and I had this moment, that night was a rough night for me coming home. I struggled because this was an observance I thought I had inside out. Cernunnos is, one of Cernunnos' other names is the Holly King. He's got a dual aspect. He's light and dark. So it was one of those stories that really jived with me because my patron kind of meshed with it, and it kind of worked, and I really liked it. And all of a sudden, how I had observed it all my life was wrong. And these people that told me that this was how they saw it, and they never said I was wrong, they just said, oh no, we see it this way. I believe one person asked me where I had read it, and I said online, and they kind of gave me this weird smug look. But that makes sense, because online, dear Cernunnos, you don't know what the Hades is up online. But anyway, I digress. The point is, no one said I was wrong, and yet I felt like I was. I felt like I was an idiot. I felt like I was a fool. I put my foot in my mouth again. I didn't know what I was talking about. I looked like an idiot. And I looked like an idiot in front of learned people. I looked like an idiot in front of people that were teaching me. People that I looked up to. People that were my mentors. I made an ass out of myself in front of people that I want to impress. And because of that self-doubt, that's what brings hesitation for me. Because the minute I start to doubt myself and possibly doubt my worthiness to be part of my path, I don't want to sit at my altars. I don't want to craft. I don't want to meditate. I don't want to call to Cernunnos. I certainly don't want to call to hell. For some reason, I feel it's just a different energy with her. If I feel unworthy of Cernunnos, there's no way I feel worthy enough for hell. And it snowballs and it spirals, and suddenly I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. It is very reflective of when I'm going through physical and mental depression. But it's my spiritual life. And the further I get in my path, the more that takes over my mundane as well. Just everyday mundane stuff I don't want to do. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I certainly don't want to talk to anyone because I'm an idiot. That's what I tell myself. And while this is all horribly destructive, the saving grace about any and all destruction is it can be rebuilt. And it oftentimes is. That is one of... Sorry, getting hit really hard suddenly. If you are sensitive or empath, tears may come. Just warning you. Bonnie told me, if you start crying, you should tell people, because if they're empathic, they don't want to see that. Or they should at least know about it, so I'm warning you. Yeah, it when it comes to destruction, it is a terrifying experience when it's happening. It's chaos incarnate. It is loss, profound loss and pain. And I know I wasn't going to talk about the negative, but apparently that's something I need to talk about, so we're going with it. Okay, how? But the thing is it can be turned. And this is where spiritual hesitation, I think, although it is destructive and painful and horrible to go through, it truly is. It has positive results in the end, sometimes, for me at least. What I mean by that is I learn, and I've always had this, I'm trying to think of the right word, I've always had this response when I'm getting hit with negative energy. Usually an external source. Internal source, when I start hitting myself with negative energy, it's a little harder for me to combat. But if it's a negative source that's hitting me with energy, I can usually, as soon as I identify it, make the conscious decision to, okay, I need to shift and change all of this bad juju into something I can work with. Make me productive. Let's focus. And that's what happens out of my spiritual hesitation. I will sit there and I will mope and I'll struggle, sometimes for a couple of days. The longest I've gone, I think, was a couple of weeks. And it was, I know Ray was very worried about me. It was bad. But usually it's a couple of days at most. And during this time, although I'm depressed, although I'm sad, although I'm struggling, I don't stop questioning. I don't stop looking for answers. With the oak and the holly king, why I instantly, once I kind of processed emotions and let out all the self-insecurities that I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I just embarrassed myself in front of these people that I want them to think the world of me because I think the world of them, and I'm just an idiot, and blah, blah, blah. Once I got all that garbage out, because when we reflect like that, when we call ourselves names and say we're dumb and stupid, that's all it is. It's garbage. I can identify it is, but it still sucks. So once that garbage was out, it still bothered me. It still hurt. It still was an issue. And I'm like, okay. Why is it that I resonate with this? And that's what I started thinking about. Even though I couldn't go before Carnunos, I certainly couldn't go before hell. I didn't sit down to my altars. I didn't sit down to craft. I didn't do anything. I just sat there and questioned and thought. And that is the saving grace I found in spiritual hesitation, is it causes me to analyze. It causes me to question. And I think questioning is one of the most important things in any spiritual path. I think I'm kind of looping back around to where I was trying to go, so I'm sorry if I'm talking in circles. I didn't take what they said as, oh, okay, that's how it is. Okay, done. My whole view has shifted. It was, well, crap, I don't resonate with that. I've always really connected to this. And I went through my shame spiral thing and called myself names. And then when I came back to rational Anna and kind of focused, then I was able to look at it and go, okay, I still don't resonate with how they observe it. What is different? Why is this so different? Why is this that, if they say this is how they work on it, why is that not resonating for me? What is it about this process that is different for me than it is for them? Maybe. Because I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else but me. But why is it that it resonates this way for me? And through that, I was able to identify, well, I like the idea of there being a balance. That although you have the longest night of the year, because the sun is reborn, that is where that extra oomph of power comes from. It shows that although spiritually, although we may not have this, puffed up chest and, oh, look at me, I'm a muscle man type of persona, because of something simple, and it's really not simple, but just something small that maybe isn't even being celebrated, isn't even being recognized. it can tip the odds in our favor. And I don't know why, but in the idea of struggles, in the idea of obstacles and trying to overcome them, in terms of trying to fight against something for something better, I like that ray of hope. I like that I can look at the odds and they can be stacked against me, but one simple fact could mean I emerge from this victorious. And that's, I don't know why, but that's really what speaks to me. And I don't know if anyone else has ever gotten that out of the Oak and Holly King, but that was what I always liked, was that it was always a cycle, there was always balance. Each brother or aspect would get the same amount of time, and they would do battle, and they kind of, you gotta know, I would think, you would know I'm gonna lose, but you still go for it, you still try. And the only reason why the other one is the victor is because although you have your day of glory today, after this point, I am going to slowly grow in strength. And because of that, I get to rule. I liked that. That's what resonated for me. And the fact that I was able to work through, it reaffirmed my path. That is why I think, as hard as it is to go through any sort of hesitation, but especially spiritual hesitation, because your spiritual path, when everything else is stripped away from you, when everything else is gone, that is the one thing that you really have, and no one can take it away from you. No matter what you are faced with. No matter what laws are in order, no matter what rules and regulations there are, you can believe whatever you wish. Just don't hurt anyone. And so when something that is so intimate to you, something that is so personal to you, gets put into question, when it gets, put on its ear, and you don't know which way is up, you get off balance. Chaos kind of reigns over you, and things get dark, for lack of a better phrase. And you have a moment in that, things are hitting me. In that moment, you have that time. You have a split second, it seems like. You have that time where you can kind of go, F it, I'm out. And I'm going to submit. And F it, I'm not this anymore. I don't follow this path. This isn't right for me. Or you say, okay, I'm in a really shitty spot. And what am I going to do with this? What am I going to turn it into? What am I going to learn? I think that's what I love about it. If I have to take a shining point away from it, it's I learn so much from my moments of hesitation, from my moments of darkness, from any and all shadow working I've ever done. It proves to me that I am stronger than I think I am. And it proves to me that I do have a passion for my spiritual path. I love learning. I'm never going to be done with that. And because I'm able to reaffirm those things, I'm able to push through, learn more about the thing that has twisted me and turned me upside down, and I'm able to seek the truth. Now, the funny thing about the truth is when we're having these moments of hesitation, when I'm having this insane amount of doubt, I always get truth at the end of this quest. May not be a truth I want. There are many times I am turned upside down and I'm like, I just want this to be the answer. Well, that's not the answer. That's not what ends up coming through. It's something else entirely. But although it's not necessarily an answer I want, it's always an answer I need. There have been so many times I've wanted things to be different. I've wanted my path to lead me somewhere different. And it doesn't. I'm still here. I'm still doing this. I'm still where I'm at. But in looking at where I'm at, I'm where I need to be. And I think I'm starting to get off subject. I realize this. But I think that's the point of any spiritual hesitation is we're all going to go through it. We're all going to have bouts. You are always good enough. You're always smart enough. You're always brave enough. And you're always cool enough. Sorry. As I start hacking up along. You're always good enough. Because your spiritual path is yourself. It's learning not only about this world around you, but about the mysticism that is inside you, the ancient pulse that is within you. It is learning about everything and about anything and everything. There we go. And that includes ourselves. So when you go through these moments of spiritual hesitation, when I go through these moments of spiritual hesitation, I can let it rule me. And sometimes I let it for a bit. It's okay. I let it happen. I let it wash over me. I'm a monk for a few days. And then the crone energy hits me upside the head and says, get your ass up, put on your big girl socks, and get going. Figure this shit out. Why is this hitting you? What do you need to learn from this? Where do you need to go next? And so I study and I learn and I figure it out. And once I'm done, it hits me, oh, this is why this is that way. Or this is why this resonates with me and this doesn't. Or holy crap, I didn't even realize this whole thing kind of makes sense to me now. And you come out the other end of this. And not only have you maybe learned something new, but you've reaffirmed everything that you were afraid of, everything that you doubted, everything that you thought was wrong with you. Comes out there is nothing wrong with you. There are so many times I don't feel magic within me. There are so many times I doubt that. That group that I work with, we still do circles, and I stand there and I often am like, oh crap, we're doing energy work. Please tell me they can feel energy from me. Just let there be something. And the reality is there always is. Because it's within me. It's within everyone. We just have these moments of fear and doubt, and that's normal, and we need to embrace them and get through the other side. Because once we're through them, once we have felt and surveyed the utter destruction that hesitation and self-doubt and spiritual doubt can give. Once we have that destruction before us, we can begin to rebuild. We can sift through the rubble, and we can find our path again, and we can rebuild it even stronger. And that is what we should remember when it comes to hesitation. That it sucks. It hurts. It's a thing. But at the end, it's so worth it. And I'm going to leave it there. Blessed be. Bye, guys.